What is on top of the deck? What is on top of the deck? Oh, it's Lightning Helix! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Welcome to Hunt the Week.
Hello everyone and welcome into the show. Welcome on in each and every one of you master detectives. I know we have one more week till retirement, and boy, I hope we get through this thing alive so we can get that gold pocket watch we've been dreaming about since we started on the Force. Hello and welcome to Hunt the Week. It is a weekly Magic the Gathering podcast about the Arena Gauntlet League that we love and play in. This is Murders at Karlov Manor, Week 5. Who's alive? Who's still out there? If you're still alive, give me a huh-huh. Yes, we are getting ready to wrap this bad boy up. One more week of Magic, the dreaded and wild Week 6. And we got a lot to talk about. This is a very big show. This is probably the longest show I've ever done, so I'm going to cut down a lot of the early stuff up top for more of the better, juicy stuff later. Let's go ahead and let's get a clue.
That's what we're trying to find out. We're trying to find out who killed him and where and with what.
As I record, it is 1:20 p.m. on Wednesday. Doing this a little bit early just because this is such a big episode. I wanted to give people time to enjoy it. And I'm also just off work a little early today, so it's kind of a little bit better for me to get this done today. But yeah, we are in Murders of Karlov Manor, Week 5. This is your current top 8. Matthias H. Rezra, 20-5, 5-0. Way to go, Matthias. Lot P. Lot, 18-6. Christopher G. Oompa Loompa, 18-7. Zach C. Zach Carr, 16-7. Mitchell S. Spaghetti Mitch, 16-8. Daniel G. Frisky Hobbit, 16-9. Chris D. Stereolab, 16-9. Daniel M. HP Wizard, 15-6. Currently just 1-5-0 in the week. That is Matthias Rezra, although could get a 5-0 out of Jordan J. Mtron, and we could get a 5-0 out of Zach C. Zach Carr. Both sitting at 4-0 with one more game left to play. It is Wednesday. I do normally record on Thursday, so there's still a few more games left to play than normally are. But let's talk about it. How's it going? I had a very strange week. I needed to go 3-2 or better to make it to Week 6. Play my first game, get a win, feeling good, feeling like I'm still in this thing. Lose my next game, lose the next game. Oh, I'm at 1-2. One more loss and I am out. I'm on death matches. I hit up my good friend Cody Race because me and Cody like to do deathmatch things, and loser gets asked to send a care package. Played Cody, beat Cody, played one more game, won that game. I'm squeaking into Week 6 with a 3-2 record, currently 15-10 at 11th place, with boasting of the highest OMW that I can even see, going all the way down till I get to Cedric at 23rd. So I got a nice OMW to help me out. But oh boy, I'm going to need a really good Week 6 to make top 8. Not expecting a top 8. Would love a top 16. I'll take a top 16. Again, I'm going for this, highest ranking over throughout the year to try to make Player of the Year. Would love to get another top 16 in there. But either way, I'm happy to make this my third Week 6 in a row. I usually don't make that many Week 6s, so I'm feeling good about my Magic, about how I'm playing, and I'm seeing a lot of Boros this week. I played against 4 basically Boros, or what I'm going to say is aggro decks, not all Boros. There's some Jeskai in there and some Izzet, but I'm seeing a lot more of the aggressive decks, and I talked to Johnny about it later. Johnny's running into the slow deck, so I think it's still aggro versus very slow stuff, and it's what's working out. Who's playing what? What bombs are carrying you to your next match and your next game? But we're wrapping up. This will be the last episode, I believe, for Murders of Karlov Manor. I think. Hey, let's check live on air because that never backfires. I believe Chaos Team League starts next week, but let's double check. Yep, looks like it's starting next week, the 29th. This is going to be a team league, a 3-person team, so you can table talk with your partners, but it's also timed. Me and Chris R. Sinkwater won the last one of these. So we're coming in as defending champions. And in fact, I won the last Chaos League, Chaos 2, about 2 years ago. So I am not only the defending Chaos champion, but I am the defending team champion. And I say that so you know to get out of my way, because I'm going all the way to the top of this thing. This is my league. This is my jam. And I got my team, but I'm not going to tell you who it is till next week when we will do the big reveal. But yeah, Team League's coming up. Get in, get excited. We're only playing 2 to 3 matches per person, so only 9 matches a week, which thank God. I was really worried about playing too many games and being really stressed out. I think Team Leagues are really awesome and really fun, but for me personally, they really take a lot out of me, and they bring out things that I don't like, and they really stress me out and make me very anxious. But this looks doable. This looks great. I love chaos. I love the Team League. It's some of the most entertaining Magic you get to watch. So I'm really excited for that. Hopefully we'll be bringing on full teams of 3, to talk to everybody when the league starts. But we'll see how it goes. Scheduling a lot of people at once is never easy. So the best laid plans don't always work out. But there is someone who came on the show for things when they did work out. I got to talk to Johnny M, a.k.a. Johnny, all about murders at Karlov Manor, league design, the clues, so much stuff. Let's go ahead and let's solve the case.
All right, who done it?
You did it.
They all did it.
But if you want to know who killed Mr. Body, I did. In the hall, with the revolver. Okay, Chief, take him away.
Yeah, that's right. I put out a request for someone on the league committee, an Alquist type, to come on and kind of describe what was going on and how we got here and just talk about it, because it was such a cool design and such a unique thing. And I think we had so many questions, and they really couldn't answer many questions. That was kind of the thing. The league committee was pretty quiet. A lot of Alquist, who has just disappeared. What happened to him? Where did he go? Is he kidnapped? Are we going to get one last clue of what happened to Alquist? I don't know. But Alquist is gone. All the clues are done. No one solved mine, but it's still out there if you want to take a look. Go to the rules and registration tab and look at the subtext right next to it. Current league under evaluation. That spells out clue. You can find the answers to the rules of the current and past leagues here, and then it keeps on going, and if you dig deeper, you're going to find some flavor text for a card you could have got but didn't. But hey, I talked to Johnny M, a.k.a. Johnny, this week, and it was awesome. I love talking to Johnny. Johnny's one of the best players, one of the best designers. I always describe him as cool head Johnny. Johnny always makes me feel better about anything. Whenever there's anything going on the server and I'm like, I don't get it, or I'm upset, Johnny always comes in and writes some big paragraph and explains everything like clearly and concisely. And I go, yeah, okay, I listen to Johnny. What he said makes sense, and I trust and believe him. So we got him on. We talked about it. We talked for a long time. This is going to be a long interview. So it might be a 2-parter. I don't even know if my uploaders will let me upload. But let's go ahead and listen to my interview with Johnny now. All right, everyone. Let's solve one last case this week here on Hunt the Week. And I am bringing onto the show none other than Johnny M, a.k.a. Johnny. Welcome to the show, Johnny.
Hey, John. Thanks for having me.
Hey, always a pleasure to have you on and to play against you. We were chatting a little bit before we started. Yeah, you've beaten me twice already, and there've been some good games, but I got to stop losing to you, Johnny. I gotta knock it off.
I mean, if you want to play next week, I'll be happy to do so.
See, here's the thing. I have a once you play me twice, I don't play you again rule, right?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. That makes a ton of sense.
But I kind of have to throw that rule out in week 6 at a certain point,
yeah.
Because once it's week 6 and you need every game you can get, I feel kind of bad saying like, oh, I won't play you. And then like, oh, I don't find another game because I refused the one I could get. So it is possible we have a week 6 game, but not my first one. I got to have at least one shot at somebody else. That's all.
All right, we'll see.
Well, let's talk MKM. Like I said, you've been beating me down. You've climbed up to the charts. Where are you right now?
I think I'm at 15-9, around 7th place.
7th place. You're there. You're on the cusp. And if I remember, you started a little slow this league. So I'd like to know what's it been like turning it around, and what's helped you come all the way back to a 7th finish here in week 5.
Yeah, I think I guess I was 4-5 after week 2, and I think at that point my deck had a critical mass of detective cards, and I was able to switch my build from like just a mid-range Mardu deck to more of a focused white-blue detectives, splashing some red for bombs.
Nice.
And yeah, it's just worked out really well. I went, I think 10-1
Ooh.
in weeks 3 and 4. Just like putting a ton of pressure and killing people before they can take over with whatever good cards they have.
Would you say, because like I said, I've lost you twice. It seems like a pretty aggressive deck. Would you call it an aggressive deck that you've kind of gone into?
Yeah, for sure. You have a bunch of Market Watch Phantoms. I have whatever the Detective Lord is.
Oh yeah.
There's things like Cryptic Coat,
Yeah.
of course, and just trying to like get those Market Watch Phantoms in, 2 in the air over and over. Sometimes you're getting them for 3 in the air.
Yeah.
There's a War Leader's Call for extra pressure.
Yep.
And to give you some reach at the end to get those last few points of damage. I think On the Job is a card that gives +2/+1 to your board, and that's been fantastic for me.
Yeah, it's very similar to the card in cons that we are just coming off of the +2/+1 team pump that did very well in cons league, and then this one's an instant, and you get to draw a card. So
Exactly. Yeah.
How far we've come.
Yeah, it feels too big to be an instant.
Right? It doesn't need to be an instant. Doesn't have to be, but you can use it on defense. I've done that before, and sometimes you get them with that.
Oh yeah, I feel like my deck is I don't play any defense, just all as much pressure as I can, and just have to try to race.
Have you been seeing more aggressive deck? I Here in week 5, I just finished my games. I went 3 and 2, but I played 4 Boros aggro decks basically this week. I feel like I'm running into just a lot of the aggro. Are you starting to see that, or are you lucky and kind of picking off these slower, 4 or 5 color decks?
Yeah, I've been against a lot more slower decks.
Yeah.
There was just one match that was a very straight aggro match, where like I had the blue flash spell that gives a detective +2/+2.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, you want to save that as a trick, but I just played it as an aura, just getting that damage because I knew like I just got to go for it.
Yeah.
We're not trading. We're just gonna run past each other, and I don't have time to save it for value.
Oh,
And
that's so funny.
playing it ended up being the right choice.
Yeah. It's funny how difficult it can be to play the aggro deck, especially when you're playing against another aggro deck. People think that the decks are real simple. You turn your card sideways and that's it. But a lot more goes into it, especially when the racing in this set's kind of hard with push pull. You can take a lot of damage out of nowhere. You got to stop them before they get to 6 mana. Really, there's a lot. There's a lot to think about.
Pull's been really good for me. I've won a lot of games thanks to that.
I was winning a lot of games early with it, and this week I felt like graveyards were empty. Stuff was getting exiled too much, and I'm sitting here. I'm like, well, I can bring back one thing, but I hate casting it for like one mediocre card when I can save it up and get all that value. But sometimes that you don't have a chance to do that. It's a push and a pull of when to cast the card, Johnny. So that's great. 15 and 9 from 4 and 5. Congrats. Way to turn it around.
Thanks.
But really, Johnny, I want to talk to you about this design, this MKM League design that you and the league committee guys have done, because I'm blown away by it. At this point, everything's kind of wrapped up. No one found my clue. Okay, it wasn't Bog Badger, and I can't believe everyone kept guessing it. Let's talk about MKM design. When did you guys start thinking about doing this, and how far ahead in advance were you guys talking about the design for this league?
Yeah, probably at least a month ahead of time, and maybe about 3 weeks before the league started, we kind of settled on the basic idea. But there were some things like collect evidence that Ryan saved us at the very last minute, kind of realizing that we needed something a bit more interesting for like the meat and potatoes of the league.
Yeah.
And I really, really appreciate that he came in with that, and like with the full concept ready to go. We just tweaked the numbers slightly. So this a lot of the puzzles, that idea came together around 3 weeks out. and with something like brainstorming of here's an idea. Okay, let's start listing different types of puzzles. And
Mm-hmm.
after getting to like about 30, said,
Oh my
okay, I think there's
God.
enough that we can move ahead with this and lock it in.
Wow, 30 different puzzles. Are you a puzzle guy? I've seen other people mention you're a puzzle guy. You're a puzzle guy, Johnny?
Yeah, for sure. I love that kind of stuff in all different ways. Obviously, like Magic is every turn's a puzzle.
Oh
What's
yes.
the play puzzle every turn? But yeah, like puzzles all kinds.
Yeah, and it's well, you guys did a great job. Great job with the puzzles and the collect evidence reroll thing was great. The Rami cases I think were super fun and added like an extra little element that like didn't need to be there, but it was really great, and I'm glad that it was. I feel like everyone on the league committee got to do like their own thing on this one too. Like you could tell like which part Steve was involved in, maybe which part Adam was involved in, and you could kind of see the different personalities of the people and the way they put themselves into this league. It was really wonderful, man.
Yeah, it was a really great team effort. Steve crushed it with how he implemented Rami, how
Yeah.
he made all the collected evidence stuff work. He helped with how the puzzles and clue tokens were tracked to make it
Mm-hmm.
so much easier. And you can give Steve like this kind of loose idea. He'll say, "Give me 2 days," and he'll come back with something that's exactly what you were thinking, but better than you could have hoped.
Oh, perfect.
And yeah, he just makes all the stuff work.
And thank you, Steve. Thank you for doing that. No one knows how you do it. You're a magician, and we appreciate it. All the tinkering with the bots. Uh, did you have a uh, clue reroll strategy for yourself? Or with your clues, did you save up? Did you look at offset? Did you stay inset? What did you do with the clues, Johnny?
Yeah, I decided to stay in set just because I do focus on detective synergy a lot for my deck.
Mm-hmm.
So just tried to save up, and I saved up to 6. I think is the level where you get to pick 2 packs, roll 2 packs, pick one. Figuring, that's I think for me that's where the most value was, and also I guess I think to use it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So it really just depends on what your packs were, but going for collect evidence 6 made sense for me.
Because as a league committee member, you weren't allowed to participate in a lot of the clues and everything that was going on. Do you feel do you feel hindered? Do you feel like you're missing out on the league yourself because you couldn't get any extra cards in your deck?
No, I think that was kind of an important part of the design. Is like, look, we knew that we wouldn't be able to participate in this,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also telling that like we're okay with that. And there's some competitive people
Of course.
involved there. People who don't want to give up advantages. But we were okay saying we're going to stay out of this because getting to participate in it isn't such a big advantage. We're not losing that much.
Right.
And for sure, like if you see someone get a card and you're like, wow, that's a big boost. But really, it's one extra card out of your pool of 240 cards.
Mm-hmm.
And the extra clue token you get, we had the catch-up clue tokens. So
Yeah.
everyone still got two clue tokens guaranteed. For the people who did participate, they averaged, I think, 2.67 clue tokens.
Oh, cool.
So if you don't participate, you lose out on 2/3 of a clue token. You lost out on worked out to about 1.3 cards.
Oh my gosh. The
Like
math.
you're not losing that much.
Yeah.
And it's important to have these rewards to make the puzzles matter, to get people excited.
Yeah.
But it's like was fine to miss out on it.
Yeah, and it's not holding you back too much because here you are currently in seventh. You're not Johnny don't need no clues. Johnny don't need no extra cards, right? Like so, it's just proving the point. I love it. Were there clues that you guys gave out that you thought were really hard and people cracked them right away, or the opposite? Were there clues where you're like, yeah, this one's an easy one, we're gonna throw this one out there, and then 2 days later you're like, I can't believe nobody's gotten that thing yet. What did we do?
Yeah, well, early on, especially, a lot of things got solved really fast, and that's just because there's a lot of eyes, a lot of clever people. They're trying to do
Yeah.
it fast, and I'd say most puzzles that I've done that I've had experience with, in general, they're sort of designed for people to solve them,
Mhm.
and sometimes it'll take you a little longer, but you should be able to solve it eventually. Because a lot, if I go to a puzzling event, the goal is that everyone gets these puzzles, everyone can solve them.
Yeah.
But for our purposes, we don't care if everyone can solve them. We just need one person to solve them. And so the difficulty was a little off. Like things were a little maybe too easy.
Uh-huh.
Um, when you have a lot of people competing. For example, like an anagram. If I have a paper and pen, I'm doing an anagram. It's a neat little puzzle.
Uh-huh.
But if you have 20 people in front of a computer, they just take it, they put it into an anagram solver. You get the full list of possible words in 1 second, and it's a super lame puzzle. And so, we had some anagram things that had to, get thrown out or reworked.
Yep.
Because it doesn't hold up to competitive solving.
Internet makes things hard. It really does.
And there's a trick around that, which is, well, we'll use magic card words,
Mhm.
which an anagram solver won't recognize. But then within a day or two, people figure it out. You could just plug all the letters individually in Scryfall, and it'll give you all the card names using those letters, and so it solves the anagram for you.
I didn't know
And
that one.
so yeah, like there are some things like that ended up being way too easy. There was one puzzle, which was it was images of cards that had digits in their names,
Mm-hmm.
and you had to figure out that white precinct 6 was the answer because
Yes.
there wasn't anything with the 6 in it. And in the puzzle introduction, there was a line saying it was a black common as like a bit of a guide, and also to let people know, like, only try to solve this if you're in black and you want this card. But then I thought, that's gonna be too easy, or like people are guessing too much.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna delete that line so people just don't look at a list of black commons and try to go from there. But it ended up screwing up the puzzle because that line was important to rule out a different card
Oh,
that
no.
wasn't the answer. And so when Lotta solved it, she pointed out, like, hey, look, the answer is either Blade of the Sixth Bride or it's White of Precinct 6.
Yep.
My official answer is going to be White of Precinct 6. And it was. But it was something where, like, allowed him to change, like, oh, got to make this puzzle harder. And messed it up.
One small tweak. I remember that one because the only card I could get was the two-headed giant. I looked up 2 and got two-headed giant. And I was like, I found this one. And then I didn't know any others. I was like, oh, well. And then, she guessed it like 4 minutes later. She was so quick. I don't understand how some of them, people were so quick on. I still don't get how someone got Golgari Charm in 1 minute or whatever.
Yeah, you never know what other people are going to know or not know or recognize.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in that puzzle, in the White of Precinct 6 puzzle, there's all this art. And, there's it was some commander card that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
I'm never going to connect to it. But someone else is like, oh, maybe they've seen it at their commander table, so they get it right away.
Yep.
There was the one puzzle, which was the you're driving a bus around Ravnica, picking people up, then
yeah.
you're getting off the bus, which is it's a riddle that I read in a magazine 30 years ago that I've just had stashed away all these years. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
let's
Here's
use this.
one.
And I've never seen it since I read it 30
Yeah.
years ago. Turns out it's actually a little more widely known than I understood it to be. There's other people who, within reading 2 sentences of this long paragraph, multiple paragraphs, in 2 sentences, they know the answer. So that's kind of too bad that it gets solved right away.
Yeah, but then you got things like the Fibblethip lasting around for days because no one can figure out where that hand is from. Or
actually, the Fibblethip didn't quite work out the way I thought it was going to. I didn't realize people were going to go so hard on the first little tiny pink pixel.
Oh yeah,
it was supposed to be a little slower, and then eventually someone's going to piece it together.
Yeah.
But it was kind of I guess I underestimated the passion and dedication that people are going to approach us with, and to a point where Jordan said, "Okay, let's hurry this puzzle up. Like, let's start posting some more images so someone gets it."
Yeah, I mean that first like couple days, it was real exciting. On the server, what was coming? Where was the next thing? Everyone's freaking out. I don't. This stuff's too strong. I don't like it. I gotta find my clue. It was so fun, and it really stayed the whole time. You guys did such a great job, with all the clues and without the puzzles. How did you guys pick out all the cards you gave out? You gave out a wide variety. Probably the most I don't know, criticized part, right? Is that all these cards that were given out. How do you guys pick these out? A lot of very on theme. That's kind of what I pieced together. A lot of them seem very thematic to the set in one way or another. Yeah, how'd that come to be?
Yeah, so there were a few criteria. Well, the biggest criteria was like, hopefully the card's reasonably playable, but no bombs. We also looked at cards that were from other Ravnica sets. Then cards that have some kind of a mechanical interaction. So there's a lot of stuff from Shadows over Innistrad with clues and investigating.
Yeah.
But then sometimes it's just like, here's a puzzle. What could be an answer for it? So an example was Jack's puzzle, which was count the number of triangles in this pentagram. And it just worked out. Okay, there's 58 triangles. Okay, now let's check what cards have collector number 58, and then which one of these seems, okay to use.
Okay.
Where something like Golgari Charm, it's a iconic Ravnica card. It seemed like a cool thing to give out. The -1/-1 ability to all creatures is pretty unique, and so that was a question of, okay, let's look at this card and what could be a puzzle that could give this away. So the rebuses were a little bit more all over the place, a little looser on what cards we did for that. For example, there was a series of rebuses for international players. So Adam kind of picked out cards that, the card names were kind of appropriate for the theme.
Oh,
Same thing.
cool.
There were some for rookies. You had cards like Rookie Mistake and While We Were Young. Because another note there is it's kind of important to not be too obvious in where the cards are coming from. Like if we focus too hard on Ravnica cards, then people can just have a list of potential cards, and for every puzzle, just like, let me go back to my list and see what here can match. Same thing for cards that investigate.
Yeah.
Because it's a pretty small group of cards there. Yes. So we don't want someone just like every puzzle. Guess, is it ongoing investigation for this one? No.
Yeah.
Okay, for this puzzle, ongoing investigation.
Yeah.
Until they get it eventually.
Oh man. Yeah, that's for that. I think
the one other note is, the way I like to do things, I always like to have a connection to make connections between things. So like one of the reject puzzles that never got posted was just going to be Morse code, and you have to decipher the Morse code. So for that, to me, the answer has to be a card that has Morse in the name. So it was like, it could be overwhelming remorse, it could be remorseful cleric.
Oh yeah.
It has to be like, I like having things like that.
I like it.
As that's the other way that cards are chosen.
Well, why didn't that one make the cut? Was it
too powerful? And the puzzle was like not good, because as soon as you hear it, okay, now it's Morse code. It's obvious. So there's nothing to figure out. But just transcribing Morse code is like incredibly tedious. It's not going to be a fun
there
puzzle.
were some tedious puzzles. Wasn't there like the crazy math puzzle that came out that like
I know some people call that homework, but I actually like that type of puzzle a lot. I find that type of puzzle like super like soothing, relaxing to do.
Yeah. See, I bet if I liked math, I'd be into it. But I looked at it and I was like, oh nope, did that for me. Do you think this league was a success? Are you going to look back on this one fondly, or are you just like, man, that was so much work. I'm ready to do an easy league and not have to work so hard.
Both statements are true. It was a lot of work. Pretty fed up with it. Like I'm glad that Alcus disappeared, and we had kind of identified, okay, we'll stop doing the puzzle at week 4,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
the timing seemed like quite right. We'll get out of the way, let weeks 5 and 6 play out normally.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the league definitely a big success. Super happy with how it turned out. It's always tough when we're kind of discussing these ideas and trying to figure out each other's vision, communicate of the idea of what it should be,
Mm-hmm.
and then implement it, put it out there, and then see how 100 people, deal with it and what they make out of it and turn it into, right? Because it's easy to do like the exact same thing, but
Yeah.
people aren't into it, and then it's a flop, or you do the exact same thing and people love it and it's great.
Yep.
And do people make fun from it, and do people get into it? And a good example is all of the Master Detective puzzles that we had. Were amazing.
Yeah.
Super happy that people were contributing those, and someone doing their one puzzle for the league is going to be a little better, a little more inspired, a little more effort put into it than someone who's doing their 20th puzzle for the league. So really appreciated having all those contributions. And yeah, I think like every aspect of it worked out better than expected. Collect evidence, ended up being super balanced.
Mm-hmm.
Every option is being used evenly.
Yep.
So it's really interesting. Like I said, the Rami bot was implemented amazingly, and is serving its purpose of giving everyone something to participate in, even if they didn't get involved with the public puzzles.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, really happy with how the public puzzles went. Even though, admittedly, it wasn't for everyone.
Yeah.
Not everyone participated. Not everyone liked it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay, because we can shift things around from league to league. And if you didn't like this time, don't worry. Stick around.
Yeah.
The next league's different, and you can enjoy what's going on there. But I think for the people who weren't this time, I think they really liked it, really had a lot of fun, and it added a lot to the experience. And the people who didn't add anything didn't lose out on much.
Yeah,
because they still get to play, they still get to do the normal thing, they still got the clue tokens.
Yeah. Some people don't want to solve puzzles, and that's fine. And some people just it's not for them. And you know what? I can't imagine the next time we get another league like this. Like I can't imagine what the set or circumstance would have to be. So if you didn't like it, it's probably not coming back anytime soon.
Exactly. Yeah. This was the only time that this was ever going to happen, as it's never going to happen again. And just on a small note, going back to the idea of what I gave up by not participating, and I didn't get as many clues, I didn't get the cards. In Concept Tarkier League, there's this team element, and I'm not into that. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't ask anyone on my team for deck building advice because I like to do it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I lost more EV in Concept Tarkier by not asking my team for deck building advice than I lost in MKM by not being able to solve any of the puzzles or get any of those cards. And so I think that kind of says that even if you don't like it or into it, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. There's another one coming up. And for the people that did like it, I loved it. The community aspect of this league was it was huge. It felt almost like a team league with how into it the community was for so much, for so long. It was great. It was really awesome to see.
I like we got to see a lot of people's personalities through it.
Yeah, people were having fun. People were having a really good time with it. Well, Johnny, we got to get to our questions from the league. I asked, and they did not disappoint. Our first question comes from Richard K, aka Preacher, who would like to know La Belle Provence or La Fleurs.
It's La Belle, and it's not close.
Okay, so what are these places? I have no idea what we're talking about.
So they're just typical hamburger, fries, hot dog, poutine places.
Okay.
And so I think LaFleur's is a bit more hot dog focused. Um, I've only gone there. There's one place I used to go for fries sometimes, once in a while. I think it's been closed for probably a decade. So I don't know. LaFleur's never really connected with me, but La Belle, um, it was quite common. It's a pretty widespread chain here. But there's one that's downtown at one of the main intersections, right around where all the concert halls are, where all the cultural centers are, where all the festivals happen. And a lot of good nights have either started or ended there with their poutine. And so has a special place in my heart. And the funny thing is, I was there yesterday. I checked my phone and I saw Richard's question. That was like the first thing I saw. And I'm like, well, I'm sitting right here, so it's an easy answer.
What's your go-to order at the Belle Provence?
Just a poutine.
Oh,
And they'll have it ready for you before you finish paying. They're
That-
like absolute professionals. It's the best poutine in the city. People will say, "Oh, you got to go to this other place that has always has a lineup and has 30 different types of poutine on the menu and that renowned whatever." But I think just like I like the basic, run of the mill, nothing special, no frills,
oh,
and it's better than any of the others.
oh! If I ever get the chance, I have to try it now. It sounds wonderful. This question comes from Miranda Black Canary, the Great Watcher. What cards were proposed as solutions but decided were too strong? And what almost puzzles never came to be? I guess that could be maybe the Morse code.
Yeah, so that's an example of one puzzle that didn't happen, partly because the suggested cards were too strong. There was also the Kanza Tarkir What's the Play puzzle,
Ooh,
where Kiru's Spell Snatcher was kind of like the key to that puzzle.
yeah.
So that was put down as a prize. And then Jordan pointed out, like, oh, it's dumb to have one morph as a prize. Like, it's
Yeah.
going to be obvious what it is. So that got taken out. And I put in Murderous Cut, which is the other key card in the puzzle.
Uh-huh.
That got vetoed for being too strong.
Very strong card.
And then it's like, well, the next card in the puzzle is Creator's Clause. Like, we can't give that out. So that puzzle, like, okay, it's just not going to have a card with it.
That's
And
fair.
I think it was one of the only ones. Unfortunately for Bob, who solved it.
Yeah, sorry, Bob. Bob solved it even by playing around the Spell Snatcher. What a cool puzzle that was too. Because people are like, I got it. They're like, nope, nope. It's like, what am I missing?
That one, I had people DM me their answers just to make sure like not too much information was written out, and someone just kind of had a little scoop and score at the end. But I guess I got about 10 answers, and 9 of them were wrong. And from some really good players, they got.
One was me. I was in there. I didn't get it. Who piloted Alquist the most? Who was in control of Alquist?
So I split that with Adam. I did most of the public puzzle posting, and all the announcement stuff were him. The confirmations were largely me, but also Adam. Depending on just who's around.
Yeah.
When things are getting posted, and yeah, it worked out really well.
Yeah, it was great. You couldn't tell who it was. Pretty much the whole time. It was awesome. And were you sad to not be able to solve puzzles yourself? Did it bum you out as a puzzle guy, or were you thrilled to be putting your puzzles out there?
Well, I got to solve a lot of puzzles, like all the Master Detective puzzles.
Yeah,
all went through me, so I worked on them there.
That's cool.
And then I've got to put lots of time in on my own puzzles, and like Jordan made some puzzles, that I tested, and the Rebuses were me, Jordan, Adam.
Yeah.
So I got to see all of theirs first, and
cool.
yeah, I got my fill for sure.
Gonna be a little bit of a time before we see it. Somebody mentioned, like, what if we do puzzles in the next week? They're never doing puzzles. They're not doing puzzles anytime soon. Relax.
Never again.
Thanks again for contributing so much time. This is a little longer than normal, but I appreciate you doing it.
Oh man, I've been ready to come talk to you for 6 weeks now. The league started 4 weeks ago. I've been wanting to come talk to you for 7 weeks.
This is, normally I get a league committee member on at the start of the league to kind of go over things, and I didn't this league for whatever reason. And I'm so happy I did because like you guys would have been able to say anything like before the
Exactly.
league kicked off. You would have just came out and be like, yeah, we're doing a bunch of crazy stuff, and like, yeah, it's worked out so much better that I can have you come on at the end and be like, explain how it all worked instead of like beforehand you would have just been like, I don't know, it's a murder mystery, right? Like um our next question, it comes from Joaquin E, Diabolic Machine. Joaquin would like to know, and we talked a little bit about this, but can you take us behind the curtain as a process for designing this league? Were you creating the clues on a daily basis and deciding when to post them, keeping track? Did you have like a big backlog of 50 clues and you had them planned out like day, or were you, we need 2 clues today by 5, guys. Let's get cranky, let's get working. How did that work?
So we tried to have a pretty big bank of things before the league started, and kind of map things on like what's a week 1 puzzle, what's a week 2, what's week 3, what's week 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then the idea was, oh, and we'll create a bunch more as we go on.
Yeah.
Turns out, like once things started, didn't have like a lot of extra time and energy to create more.
I bet.
So it was a lot of just like refining was already there, or yeah, once people started submitting, kind of plugging those in. But kind of like every couple of days, I would map it out and say, okay, what are the slots? What goes in when?
Mm-hmm.
I'd post it. I don't have feedback. But sometimes it's like, okay, we'll do this thing on Tuesday. It's Tuesday at launch. Like, wait a second, this puzzle is not ready. Kick it
Yeah.
back to Thursday. Okay, I'll kick it back to next week. So some of it was very on the fly, things being switched around, the day of. But for the most part, try to have things mapped out a few days ahead of time.
Now, when you say you kind of broke things down by week, was there a strategy as to like what cards we're giving out on a weekly basis from week 1 to week 4?
Yeah, definitely stronger cards got pushed back to the later weeks.
Uh-huh.
There was also things like spreading out puzzles. Like there were a bunch of art puzzles, so instead of doing them all in the same week, did one a week. There are things like, well, a crossword should be on a Sunday.
I love
Okay, so
that.
it's our
Yeah.
open Sunday slot, and doing things like that. With the Yargle puzzle, uh, which it's not a good card. Should have been given out day 1,
Yeah.
but well, no, we got to schedule that for March 9th. For example.
That's what I didn't even realize that Yargle came out on Yargle Day. Oh my gosh. You guys really did think of so many different things. Did you have a favorite? Was there a favorite puzzle of yours throughout the entire league?
But they're all
They're
well,
all
like
your babies.
a puzzle that I put together. Yeah, all my babies. But I think the Golgari charm, that was my favorite,
That was a
uh,
cool one.
because like just that simple one line riddle, and it just coming together of like, I want to do a puzzle for this card. What are the options? And oh look, there's these cards that make up the abilities, and that the card was Y.
Yeah, what a weird one.
Was a card, and like, oh, that's perfect. Like that's the puzzle.
When that card posted, I was like, "What is this card?" I defined it as some uncard with like 1,000 multi cards in it. Who, what, when, where, why? Uh,
Yeah.
so weird.
But then like of puzzles that other people did, I think Mitch's was my favorite. It's too bad that it was posted a little later on,
Yeah.
and so at that point there weren't as many people trying to solve things. But yeah, like even when he gave me the answer, like the
Mhm.
full explanation of everything, I had trouble following, and it was just like so comprehensive, touching all sorts of different things. I loved the way he put it together.
Oh, yeah. Congrats to you, Mitch, and to everybody that designed it. They were all awesome.
Yeah, and one thing I really liked about that is getting seeing all these different brains at work. So when I play Magic, I don't think of infinite combos. That's just not how I approach the game.
Mm-hmm.
But Locked it does. So then when I ask, hey, you want to do a puzzle, and like right away, yep, it's going to be an infinite combo puzzle. Like perfect, because otherwise we wouldn't have had that. And Chris G had the connected walls puzzle, I think it's called, which is a type of puzzle that apparently is somewhat well known and somewhat common, but not something that I'm familiar with at all.
Uh-huh.
And so it's like, oh, perfect. You know, like, yeah, you know, we're missing this, you know. And yeah, so everyone got to have their own little touch, and it was important to have puzzles, different types of puzzles. Some art puzzles, some mathy puzzles,
Yeah.
some card ability puzzles, just for the people trying to solve it. You know, you have a bunch of different people. You don't know who has what strengths,
Mm-hmm.
so you want to give something for everyone, and so that worked out.
It would
really
also
well.
be boring if every day was just like the art game or something, you know, like
Exactly.
it wouldn't have been as exciting. And it was fun. It was like, what's the puzzle going to be today? Because sometimes I look at it, I go, I don't have a shot. Like this one's not for me. And then there are others where I'm like, all right, like let's get cracking. Like let's figure this thing out.
Yeah.
So,
See, the one thing that I think we overdid a little bit were the rebuses,
mm-hmm.
but there's a good reason for that. Well, 3 reasons for that. They're really easy to make.
Yeah.
It take way less time than anything else. They're not like Googleable, or you know, you
Mm-hmm.
can't say, "Let me just put something in the Scryfall and get the answer." Like you really have to think about it and figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it made sense to put 10 of them up at once so that a lot of people can participate all together. And I thought there was really good energy when people are trying to answer all these things at once, and it's not just
Yeah.
one person answers one thing in 4 minutes and it's over. It's like there's 10 things out there, and some of them might last a couple hours.
Yep.
And so,
Secret planes. Secret planes. That one, I still think that one's still insane. I still think that one's crazy.
for
But
the
then we're
rebuses, one note on that. So me, Adam, and Jordan um, all did them,
Mhm.
and it was really interesting to see the different approaches to them. Because like Jordan's, I thought were much more descriptive, like show the story of
Mhm.
the card, of the rumors traveling around the town for gossip
Yeah.
monger or something.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, I think Adams were more based around the words. Like he has this rooster's comb, where for warm welcome, and even look, I had the answer. People had a lot of trouble with that one. I had the answer. I couldn't figure it out. Like I knew what the card was, and I'm just seeing like rooster and welcome, and it doesn't make sense.
No.
And then my rubuses I thought were a little more like literal and descriptive of the card, like based on creature types, like all the minotaurs and centaurs. Those were all
Mhm.
mine.
Oh.
Or like there was Mowu Loyal Companion, which is like muscle dog.
Muscle dog. Yeah.
Uh, well, who's the muscliest dog in Magic? That's that's the answer.
That's it. That's what made them real fun too, is because they weren't all the same kind of thing. Like there was Think Twice, which was just two guys thinking, but then you have things like Muscle Dog, where like Muscle Dog isn't a car. Like it's something else. It's not just the emoji spelling something out or enacting something. And sometimes you had to really look at what the emoji, like you had to hover over it was, and that would tell you a little bit of a clue too. If it said like, oh, this is a deck of cards, and I never would have known it if I didn't hover over it, you know? A bunch of
Exactly.
weird
Yeah.
things. Um, did we get all the design questions for MKM? Jack H. Rakic would like to know how many hours per week goes into league committee work. Probably, I mean, let's get an average league and then compare it to this league, because I'm sure it's way more.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this league was off the charts, just in terms of, like some puzzles could individually take a couple hours.
Yeah.
Definitely like the what's the play puzzles took a lot of time to put together.
Mm-hmm.
But a normal league depends. Like once it's running, 15 minutes for solving a match reporting issue here or some
Yeah.
other little issue there. But setting up a league, I'd probably spend about 2 hours setting a league up, setting up the documents, registration, whatever, all that. Then it depends how much time we spend discussing things. Like Chaos League has been, a lot of time has been spent discussing that in the last couple of weeks. But then once that's settled, things are going to be really quiet until it's time to discuss Thunder Junction. And then
Ooh.
that week, or those 2 weeks, are going to be a lot of discussion. But then there's going to be nothing for a month after that.
Yeah, nice.
So hard to say.
And I know we're all excited for Thunder Johnson, and sign up for Team League just went live as I'm recording with Johnny. You can now register for Arena Gauntlet Team League. Get your teams of 3 together. Chris York would like to know top 3 league designs and why. You got any favorite league designs? You played in them all, I imagine.
Yeah, I've played them all. Just before that, just going back to Jack's question, it also depends. Different people do different amounts of work at different points. Like Adam writes the announcements every week, so that's like a lot more work every week that he has to do, and like Steve's doing the technical stuff. So depending how big of the project is for the league, but so yeah, it varies for everyone. Going back to Chris's question, top league designs are probably AFR, which was one that was another big investment in time. Never going to do that again. But I thought that one kind of worked out perfectly in terms of like what the picture was. Everyone has their class and kind of goes along that path.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like, when we did that one, that was like very out there compared to the other league designs we were doing at the time.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah. I thought Baldur's Gate is one of my favorite.
Brawl?
And Brawl, yeah. And I know Sealed Brawl, not a great format, has its issues. But in terms of, I know some people don't like the wild cards or the silver bullets, but I thought it was like worked out perfectly for the league design wise. Just unfortunate, a handful of cards
the polar bear
that exist of Polar Bear and Xander's Wake, and if those cards don't exist, it's a much better experience. But I thought it succeeded at what it was trying to do, of play Brawl in limited format and have decks that feel like Brawl decks, that have their themes that they try to do, and it's okay if it's if things are polarizing, that's fine. It's more like the highs are more important than the lows, I think.
Yeah, Brawl League was great, even though a lot of people didn't like it. By the end, it just was crazy. It was a super fun league to like plan out your packs and plan out your deck. Like the first 3 weeks of Brawl League were super fun. Like it was a really good time.
And the deck I played in that league was like so unique. I've never played a deck like that before in limited, and it's a deck I've played in the Brawl queues on Arena that like never seen anyone else play that deck.
Yeah,
and it only happened because I was in this league and had to figure out, what can I do with this pile of cards.
Yeah, it's fun deck. It's a different kind of deck building. Than we get in limited, and we all like to build decks. It's a different muscle we get to exercise. And
then I guess my third favorite is probably Plane Chase. In that just concept of jumping around week to week, different rules, different challenges, making people to reevaluate and keeping the league meta fresh. I think, and
I love it.
We'll definitely do a Plane Chase 2. Hopefully next January if the timing works out.
Ooh, spoiler alert!
But we'll see. No promises.
But yeah, Plane Chase was a really fun one. I love it. You like all the weird leagues, Johnny. I love it. I like the weird leagues too. I like the leagues that are kind of out there more and trying new things. It's always fun.
Hey, that's what stands out.
Yeah,
there's other leagues that have that are less ambitious that are totally fine, but maybe not as memorable. A year or 2 years later.
Jordan M. J. Mtron, your league committee partner, would like to know, how does Johnny get his puzzle fix when MTG isn't mystery themed? Has he ever been the puzzle master for an event before?
Yeah. So yeah, like all kinds of puzzle stuff. If I'm sitting around with my phone, nothing to do, waiting for the bus or something, I'm doing a crossword. I like going to escape rooms, doing Puzzle Pint, which is something that Alquist posted about accidentally. Got a little turnaround a couple of times on which account was posting what. But Puzzle Planet, which is a monthly event where you go to a bar and you get this packet of puzzles and
That's cool.
have a beer with friends. But yeah, the type of video games I like to play are more puzzly. I learned how to do a Rubik's Cube finally in the
Wow.
last year. Finally got that off my back.
What's your
Spatial
quickest?
stuff.
You have a
Oh,
quick
I don't do
Rubik's
it for
time?
speed. I don't know. A few minutes.
There you go.
But,
That's faster than I could do it. I could never do
yeah.
it.
So yeah, I've done some geocaching. Also, it was a little puzzly, but sort of anything in that realm, I'm curious to try. Then the second part of the question, being a puzzle master, yep, I've organized a couple puzzle hunts, and this one, well, I've done two, and I've been wanting to do a third, and I felt like this league ended up being like the third act in the series, and got to kind of scratch that itch. But yeah, one time I just put some posters up around my neighborhood saying, "There's buried treasure in the neighborhood. Email pirate puzzle for more information. It's going to be revealed Saturday at 11." And so when the day came, Saturday at 11, I just emailed out a packet of puzzles to about the 20 people that signed up. And there's about 8 puzzles that all involved going out around the neighborhood to, like sending people to the neat spot by the river I like to hang out, or there's a mural that was around my house on a street that no one ever goes on. That's a great mural. No one sees it though. So I sent, one of the puzzles sent people there. And at each location, they got a code word. Take all the code words, put them into a website a friend built for me, and they got a map of the borough.
Oh my gosh!
On there's a red X. X marks the spot.
Yeah.
Head to that spot. Bring a shovel. Start digging.
Really?
And and then there was a little, a cardboard box, a treasure chest for whoever found it.
Yeah.
And they got some like pirate themed board games, a pirate themed escape room game, some rum, some
oh my
gold
gosh
coin chocolates, and and it's just like kind of puzzles that that I'd put together that were all piratey themed.
That's like the coolest thing. You just did that for fun, just for nothing,
just for fun, just to entertain myself.
Oh my gosh, what an awesome thing to do. What a wonderful person you are to bring that into the world, Johnny. That's so cool.
Yeah, and it was very neighborhood based, and it was somewhere I'd lived for a long time, but I was kind of moving from. So it was my way to like a love letter to the neighborhood, and like cashing in some of the stuff I knew. Here's a picture from a cool spot. You got to figure out where the picture's taken from and get to that cool spot. And
oh my god,
some stuff like that.
I'm blown away by this. Of course, this league was built for you, man. Oh my god, you're just going around for fun, posting pirate puzzles. That's so awesome. Wow. I'm blown away. Our next question comes from Spaghetti Mitch. Top 3 board games and follow up. What was the hardest clue to design?
Okay. Hardest clue were the what's the play puzzles.
Oh, yeah.
Because you got to make sure there's no other lines. You got to make sure your line works. Got to make sure there's something to think about that it's not too obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And spend a lot of time looking at them. And if you make one little change, it's like, wait a second, does that open up something else?
Yeah.
For the concert arc here, it's like, okay, I got to pick up, look at the list of every single morph and what do they all do and what could affect what's happening here. And well, what if the opponent decides to block a different way? What does that mean?
Yeah.
And go through all the,
wow,
all the different lines. And big thanks to Maxim, who I tested both the what's the play puzzles on, and he confirmed what I had, pointed out things I had missed, made suggestions on how to make things more interesting.
Oh, that's so cool. The did someone solve the second one, the mana burn one?
No one solved it yet. Pigeon figured out that it was mana burn, so good for him, and I was hoping he'd go all the way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you're
Nothing
playing
yet.
with mana burn, you're also playing with combat damage using the stack,
Oh my gosh.
and that's I think that's the other key to the puzzle. You got to attack all, put your damage on the stack, sack Bloodfire Colossus to kill everything,
Oh my god.
and then your opponent dies before they gain life from their Spirit Link, which is a triggered ability and not actual life link.
You need a
And
Jeremy in there. That's the problem.
yeah, an important note is that in the puzzle, Alcus writes, his friend brought this game. He doesn't know it. They read the rules, and then they start to play. All the cards are 9th edition. Which rules are they reading? They're reading 9th edition rules. He doesn't have access to comprehensive rules, and he's not playing on Arena.
Wow. That's a crazy one. You really went all out with these puzzles, man. You really did. And top 3 board games. You like board games, Johnny?
Oh, for sure. They're what are board games? They're puzzles. The top 3 games: Battlestar Galactica, which is like the gameplay itself is good, but what makes it special is the emergent fun that you have with your friends of when you're sitting next to someone for 3 hours and you trust them and you're confiding in them and you're helping each other out, and then they betray you, and it's just shocking. And I don't know. There's a feeling there that you don't get from other games.
I played that game one time. This is my Battlestar Galactica story, and we're going so long, but I got one Battlestar Galactica story, so I got to tell it. I'm playing this game with an ex and a bunch of her friends who are all big board game people, and it was like one of my first times meeting them. Where they didn't know who I was and didn't trust me, so they locked me in the jail in the game. And I was in that jail the entire game. I could not get out of that stupid jail. And I did not have any fun. And at the end of the game, I had some special ability where I could like make someone re-roll their dice, and they were trying to like not blow up the ship, and I made them re-roll their dice that saved them into a dice where we all died. And I wasn't even a Cylon. I wasn't. I was just so mad at everybody I was playing this game with for like not letting me have any fun for hours. I understand what you mean. So the game makes you feel things you don't normally feel.
That's the real downside of the game. Like people who end up in the brig on their first game don't like the game after that, and they don't play it again.
Yeah, I have never played it again.
Like my board, it's a 4-panel board. One of the panels is just ripped off from one game where I don't remember what happened, but I pissed my friend off, and the panel got ripped off. And there was a game where it's trying to convince everyone, look, I'm a good guy. I'm the only known good guy, so let me throw all of you in the brig. You'll all spend the rest of the game in the brig, but it's going to be okay because I'm the good guy.
Yeah.
Believe me on the strategy. And that's like a one, and the one game where that situation comes up and it makes sense. But like, there's all kinds of things. Like, who knows what's going to happen, what story you're going to create.
Mm-hmm. And you could also turn into a Cylon later, and then you're the bad guy all of a sudden, right? And then and then Johnny's in control.
So 2 more games, Liar's Dice, which is super simple game. Each player has 5 dice. You roll them, and you make bids, and you keep your dice hidden, and you make bids on what you think is out there between everyone's dice. So I say, there's between all of us, there's 3 5s. Then it goes to you. You say, okay, between all of us, there's 4 5s. Then the next person goes, and they say, okay, well, I think there's 6 5s. Then goes to me and says, no, it's bullshit. There's not that many dice.
Yeah.
We all show our dice. We count them up. And were there as many dice as you said, and I was wrong, I lose a die. Or if it was bullshit, then you lose a die, and we go until someone has no dice.
Oh, cool.
And then we re-roll, and we do it over and over. And it's just like the super simple bluffing game. Dice rolling, super fun.
Yeah.
All you need is dice. You can play it anywhere. You can teach anyone to play in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know.
Oh, sounds great.
Simple and fun and bluffing. Bluffing games is like my favorite element. And then third game would be Twilight Struggle, which is kind of classic card-driven war game based on the Cold War. and it's a game that's super tense. Every play, it's a two-player game. Every play, both players are in like agony over what's happening, and the game has a really good story as you play it. Good beginning, middle, end. There's luck, but I find like it's very skillful. Huge learning curve, or like tons of depth. And yeah, it's a game I've organized some tournaments of back in the day. Played in some tournaments. Played in the World Championship one year.
Oh my gosh.
And went 2-2. Didn't make on day one. Didn't make day two. But yeah, it's a great game.
That's so cool. I've never heard of that one. That sounds like a really neat game. And World Championships, Johnny. What card game can't you play? Oh my gosh. Our next question comes from Damien. And Damien's got he's got a bunch of questions for you. What is the top area of Magic you think you are lacking and could improve on?
Yeah, right now I think that's staying on top of formats. I'm not reading articles. I'm not listening to podcasts. I'm not watching streamers. I'm not looking at data, and just not getting that information of what's happening in formats.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been times in the past we've been more into that, but right now I haven't been doing that, and just not going deeper on formats. Let's say is I think the biggest hole in my game at the moment.
It's something we all struggle with. I know I have those formats that I really like, and I can know what card my opponent has before they play it. And then I have those formats where I'm like, I don't know, this could be one of 7 different things. I don't even know. Like, what does that card do? Like, what does this card do? Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, you had a big red phase at one point. He liked some of your decks, but found that watching you play, he would lose his calm, calculated style you normally have, but it would make overly aggressive plays. Do you feel that you play differently when you're playing an aggressive deck? And like, does your game mentality change?
Yeah, well, I think I definitely play slower decks, controlling decks better than I play aggressive decks.
Mm-hmm.
I think it kind of suits me better. I think unfortunately the game has gotten more aggressive, and I'm not sure what this when this red phase was. And like, kind of depends on what was the deck, what was the format, what was the game state. But yeah, I definitely feel when I'm playing more aggressive, I tend to take more risks. And I don't mind playing risky if I think I'm behind, if I think, okay, I got to go for it.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm disadvantaged in the situation, sometimes I'll make plays that, like, this only works if my opponent makes a mistake.
Yeah.
Or you make an attack that's a bluff, and it only works if they don't block. But if they block, I look like an idiot. So I think playing aggressive, do tend to like throw caution to the wind a little more.
I think that makes sense. I think you kind of have to. Yeah, you're playing it aggressive for a reason. You're not trying to wait things out. You gotta go for it when you can.
Yeah, and you have to know also, does your deck have reach? What do they have in their deck that's gonna, are they gonna get a bunch of life, or are they gonna just stabilize on the ground, or are they gonna just hit you with one big hit? And that just all that affects how you should play.
Last question from Damien. Top game other than Magic you'd like to improve in?
Right now it's Palatro.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good, Johnny.
Yeah, I've been playing that a lot the last few days. And if not that, it would be disc golf, which is, I think, the other game that I play the most.
Oh, that's a fun one too.
I don't know if is that a game, if it's a sport.
Sure, it's a game. It's a game.
Yeah.
And our last question today is a long one, but hey, thanks for sticking with us, Johnny. This comes from Jeremy E. Lorgoif. Your old Mount Rushmore partner would like to know top 5 black cards that aren't already one of your league emotes.
Okay. Dark Ritual.
Okay.
Thoughtseize.
Nice.
Obliterator. Phyrexian Obliterator for sure. Can I say Davriel Soulbroker? It's online only digital card.
Sure. Is it black?
It's black. Use it as a commander. It's an amazing card. It's so interesting.
How is it online only? Is it like only on Arena digital?
Yeah, it's
or?
only on, yeah. So its main ability is -2. Accept one of Davriel's offers.
Yeah.
You get one of his conditions. So you get 8 random. He has 3. Sorry, he has 8 good abilities, 8 bad abilities. You get 3 good abilities. You choose one. Then it offers you 3 a random of the bad abilities. You choose one. And depending on what you choose, it varies wildly.
Mm-hmm.
And so each game you have to adjust which one, what you're prioritizing, what fits this game state, what fits what my opponent's doing. And after you activate it a couple of times, who knows what your game state's going to be. Okay, I'm getting 6 life for every card I draw this game. Oh, all my creatures have +4/+0 this game. Oh, I lose a life for each creature I control every upkeep of this game. Oh, every time I draw a card, like 4 cards are being exiled from the top of my deck. And it just like has so much depth to it and makes every game different and interesting.
It's its own unique puzzle, right? Now you're playing around a different puzzle every single game.
Yeah, exactly. And then 5th black card would be maybe a Geth, Lord of the Vault, which is Scars of Mirrodin, 5/5 menace 6-drop that you pay a black and an X. Put a creature artifact from your opponent's graveyard with that mana cost into the battlefield, and you mill them for that many cards. And I like playing with other people's stuff, so he does that.
Yep.
In limited, he's just a house. You can win with a 5/5 menace. You can win by milling them. You can win by outvaluing them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's my commander of my in paper black deck, commander deck. Yeah.
Watch out for those 5 emotes coming from Johnny at some point when he wins his next few leagues. Johnny, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate you coming on and staying with me this whole time. I appreciate everything you and all the other league committee did. All the other league committee members did for all of us throughout this Murders at Karlov Manor League. Again, you guys really did something special here, and I really appreciate it, and I know many others do too.
Thanks,
I don't want to wish you luck the rest of the way. You're top 7, top 8 this thing, man. Go mega draft. Go show.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, I'm
I'll
trying.
see you in the finals.
Oh, that's the goal.
Yeah, if I don't see you in week 6, I'll see you in the finals.
Hey, all right. Until then, Johnny, good luck.
All right, cheers.
Again, I could talk to Johnny forever. And we did. We talked for like 10 more minutes after that. We talked for like, I don't know, for a long time. Normally my interviews don't go that long. Me and him, we did a 40-minute Zoom room twice. So sorry if it's a lot, but there's just a lot to talk about, a lot to go over, and I just love talking to Johnny. That pirate thing was so cool. What a cool idea, just to do your own scavenger hunt for strangers, like for nothing, just for fun, just to make the world a little bit of a better place. It makes me so happy that Johnny is out there doing that, and that anybody could do it. It's so cool. But not everyone can be putting up pirate puzzles. Not everyone is even still playing in the league. So we need to say goodbye to some people because there's been a murder.
Sir, there has been a murder, and you are a suspect.
Cedric L. Hoda. Robert W. Diego Champagne. Francois R. Ayoiro. Marley L. Beauty and the Gitrog. Bob P. Hit. Ryan M. Rern. Shu L. Tamamo. Wei C. Azayaka. Cody Race. Nick S. Najisi. NJS III. Evan L. Evan. Daniel S. Obidis. Dirk E. Begging Blue. Preston B. Vorbis. Chris S. Shipley, CGM. Ian F. I am the walrus smiling emoji. Nils G. Nil Shinho, 187. Edgar A. Playful Terror. Nick W. Wheelo. Leslie C. Giga Voltaic. Jeff M. Mahamoti 64 and Michael L. Quente. And that's gonna do it for Murders of Carlet Manor. We got one more week of play. I hope you do well. I hope you make the top 8. I'm gonna be trying. I don't think I'm gonna do it. I don't expect much, but hey, like I said, I'm happy to be in week 6. But if I finish top 16, that's a win. That's a big win for me. And I hope Johnny does well. I love having Johnny on the show. Johnny, like I said, he started off not doing very well. 4 and 5. Here he is right now. Still sitting at 15 and 9. He's out there crushing it. He's having a great league, coming on strong in the end. But it's a big league. It's 100 and some people, the biggest league yet. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to make that top 8. That you're going to need to win a few games in that last week, I think, to get there. So I'll be rooting for everyone. I'm not rooting against anyone. I'm mostly rooting for myself, for people with my name. Me, Johnny, John Argett, I think he's out, but I still hope he wins somehow. I like all the Johns. We're good friends. And I don't care what Damien says. Damien says don't be a John. How about don't be a Damien? Okay? Think about that. Think about that a little bit. And until then, thanks for listening to the show. I know it was a long one. But I hope that shuffler's in your favor, because it's week 6, and this is what it's all about. You got to go coup or go home, okay? That's what we're doing. And I hope you get to keep a good 7, because it's all about starting strong, right? You can win on a mold of 5. You can win on a mold of 6. Heck, you can win on a mold of 4. But it's so hard. It's so hard. You want to make it as easy for yourself as you can. Give yourself every advantage. Min-max every portion of it. The deck building. The hand keeping. The hand smoothing, the lands. Buy some nice lands. Put some good lands in your deck. It helps. It really does. The shuffler's broken. And we'll see everybody here next week as we start to kick off Chaos Team League. Until then, bye everybody. Forgot to hit the button with Daniel. It was my nightmare. Nothing like talking for a half hour and then going, hey, let's just say everything we said again. It was a good time.
I have a little story about that once. I used to volunteer at a radio station.
Awesome.
And did a show, and I had an interview, but that was over the phone. But at the time, our setup was really ghetto, where we just like put the phone on like speakerphone and stuck a microphone right at it. But then there's some technical issue where that microphone ended up not recording. Or no,
no.
That mic worked, but then my mic wasn't recording.
Okay.
So half an interview recorded. I had it was the guy from Municipal Waste. I had just had him answering questions.
Yeah.
So I decided, okay, well, the way I'll do this is I'm gonna cut up all his responses, and then I'm gonna go on air live, and I'm gonna like pretend like I'm interviewing.
Nice.
So I ask the question, then I hit the answer.
Yeah.
Which sounds great in theory.
It's a good idea, yeah.
But then I clicked the wrong answer file, and so then he's answering questions that I didn't ask, and it was chaos.
The best laid plans. That's awesome.